Well, once again, I will introduce you guys, the candidates for Kennewick City Council position 4 at large. We are with Bill McKay and Christy Watts. So let's begin with your opening statement, Mr. McKay. 1.5 minutes.
I'm Bill McKay, married with 4 children. All are married. All but one is out of college. My wife teaches kindergarten at Southgate Elementary. 2 sons, their wives, and 6 of my 7 grandkids live in Kennewick. Will, my oldest son, has his own construction company, W. McKay Construction. Derek, my second son, is a podiatrist at Benton Franklin Orthopedic. I'm a small business owner with an accounting degree, and I'm a retired commercial loan officer from banks in the Tri-City area. My experience has prepared me well to be a city council member. The city has some major infrastructure challenges ahead, which include both construction and major repairs especially after this winter. We need a businessman on the council, one that has signed the front of the check, and the business checking account is in his name. This is important because when the expense checks are written out of your account, more thought and care goes into where the money is spent versus spending somebody else's money. We also need someone who understands the laws of economics. If income is stationary and spending goes up in one area, something else has to be cut. I will be the only council member who has been through the commercial permitting process several times. The current permitting process is difficult to navigate. That may not seem important to some of you, but the process is the first step for economic growth in any city. With this experience, I will be able to add a business developer's perspective to the City Council. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Watts.
Good evening, everybody. Again, my name's Christy Watts, and I'm asking for your vote. I've been a Kennewick resident for almost 27 years. I'm married. My husband's in the back of the room. I have 3 children and 4 grandchildren. Prior to running for office, I worked for Ben Franklin Transit for 15 years as their marketing customer service manager. So I'm accustomed to working for the public and dealing with boards of directors. I'm running for this position because I'm passionate about the city of Kennewick and the people that live here, and I consider this more an act of community service than I do politics. My priorities are a safe and livable community, diversity, public-private partnerships, public and performing arts, and one of the things that I'm particularly interested in is Vista Field, the Link, and the Columbia Drive project in the partnership with the port. I'm also thinking that our seniors in the city of Kennewick deserve something a bit more, and I'd really like to see a new or updated senior center. I'd like to see some upgrades to Kuwaitan Park for safety reasons, and I'd like to see the Kuwaitan Library, the one by Kennewick High School, upgraded as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll move on to the questions. Mr. McKay, you will go first. This one's a little long, so bear with me. The Kennewick City Council formed the Diversity Commission per resolution number 1611. It states, quote, a resolution affirming the City of Kennewick's commitment to promoting and embracing diversity and the establishment of a diversity commission. Do you support, end quote, do you support the continuing work of a diversity commission, or do you see its future as limited?
I see no reason why it can't go forward. I don't feel like Kennewick had a serious problem when it was developed, but it hasn't hurt anything. It's not going to hurt anything. If people can use it as a medium to take care of issues that would come up, I think it's a productive process. Thank you.
Ms. Watts?
I'm good.
Ms. Watts?
I recently read in the Herald, I think it was sometime last week, that the non-Hispanic white population in Kennewick is 63%, contrary to what many people perceive as being the population of Kennewick, or the population of Kennewick. I think the Diversity Commission is a good first start. I think that any time that we can encourage efforts to make Kennewick more welcoming and supporting of all people, including diverse genders, race, ethnicity, etc., is a good thing. And I think that diversity is what makes our communities and the United States of America such a wonderful place to be, and in particular, the city of Kennewick. So I really think the Diversity Commission is a good idea, and I hope to see its continuance.
Ms. Watts, you will answer the next question first. What does the term economic development mean to you, and how important is economic development to the future of the city of Kennewick?
I think economic development are the things that make this community able to grow. I really believe in anything that makes this community more livable, attracts jobs in industry. I think that economic development does wonders to help our tax base. Right now, Kennewick is on the verge of doing something so incredible in between Columbia Drive and the bridge-to-bridge, river-to-rail project. Vista Field can bring all kinds of wonderful things, and its attributes include keeping our millennials here in the area. As was stated earlier, we have a tendency to lose our kids, and it's because there's not a whole lot to do, and they perceive Portland and Seattle as a place to go. But I think if we can have an area where it's walkable, it's restricted, automobile usage is restricted in it, and we can have outdoor restaurants and street performers, and all of those kinds of things that can make the community just a place where you want to be. I think it's wonderful. So I'm all about economic development as long as it's done smart and we can afford it. Thank you.
Repeat that, please.
Yes, I can. What does the term economic development mean to you, and how important is economic development to the future of the city of Kennewick?
Well, it's always been my philosophy that either you're growing or you're dying, and so economic development is very important to any city or area. How that's done is always different for every city. I believe I'm a small government type of person. I don't believe government has the facility, ability to create that economic development, but I think government has the ability to get out of the way and let businesses thrive and grow in a city, produce jobs, produce wage-earning jobs. Now, obviously, you have to have some government, but businesses need to be able to grow without a bunch of restrictions that limit what they do and how they do it. And in certain areas, if that business is there, they need to be able to grow. We've got an issue right now down in changing of zone in the city of Kennewick. You've got businesses that are there and new restrictions are being put on them. They're no longer, in compliance. And so I think we have to be careful how we treat our businesses and how we help them grow. Thank you.
Next question. You will begin this one as well. If elected to the City Council, what suggestions do you have for the City of Kennewick to encourage sustainability and environmental responsibility?
Well, I kind of answered that a little bit in my last one. Again, it's a case of getting government out of the way and letting things grow. Environmental issues, they need to be addressed. That is what the city does. That's what laws are made in the state government. That is a valid application that the city needs to address and protect during the permitting process. And then if this government can get out of the way and let businesses grow, then we will have a very vibrant community. Thank you.
Ms. Watts?
Sustainability. Well, that basically means that you have the ability to manage and keep whatever you've developed going indefinitely. And I think that the city of Kennewick is doing a very good job of doing that. With our residential developments, they're being done smartly. The growth in the areas where the city is growing, like for the Southridge area and that sort of thing, Many of those businesses have put into practice environmental issues and ways to save and ways to treat the environment well. When I worked for Ben Franklin Transit, we had a number of projects that were built to Gold LEED standard, and we weren't the first companies in town that had that going on. That means that everything that you do is you recycle, reuse, and I can see lots of places where we're doing that, but there's always more, and there's always more ways we can do that.
Thank you, Ms. Watts. Final question, and you will answer first. We aren't just going to let you guys off the hook either. What is your position on the link?
I think you've probably gathered from hearing me talk that I'm pro the link. I believe that if you have an asset, you take care of it. We've got a wonderful asset in the convention center, the Coliseum, and the ice rink. But the Coliseum and the ice rink are getting old. Under the link plans, the Coliseum would be completely refurbished. I heard somebody mention ADA compliant. Right now, the only place you can take a wheelchair in the Coliseum is in the top row, along the edges where people are moving about to get to the seats. There's no handrails at the Coliseum right now, and it's difficult. Eventually, the city's going to face some kind of a lawsuit because somebody's going to fall down the stairs. So I like all the things that are being done. I do think that the city needs to be mindful of the fact that the Coliseum is getting old, and hope that in those link plans that's all addressed. As far as the age of the building, I've actually requested from the Public Facilities District to see an engineering report saying, so I can see what's going to be done at the Coliseum to make sure that in 10 years somebody's not coming back to the taxpayers and asking for more money. Thank you.
Mr. McKay.
Most of you probably know that I'm on the opposition committee of the link, not necessarily because of the link, but because of the sales tax increase. My dad may have had a saying that has been proved beneficial to me in my lifetime, and that is do it right the first time or don't do it at all. The current auditorium that's proposed in this link is 2,300 seats. There is not a entertainment group that will probably use that 2,300 seats. They will still go to the Toyota Center because they can get 5,000 to 6,000 people, over 5,000 people in there. So it's not big enough only to help with the conventions. And so $45 million for something that will only help with some conventions. And the conventions are subsidized. Last year, the city wrote a check to the Public Facility District of $350,000. And so if they can't even pay for the operations, why are we subsidizing those to come here? Yes, they go help a few businesses in the Tri-Cities, but not the whole Tri-Cities, but the whole Tri-Cities gets to pay for it. Thank you.
Thank you both. I want to invite all of you to thank these guys for coming out. Once again, Bill McKay and Christy Watts, but a big thank you to all of the candidates that took the time to come out here today. Very important for us.
Thank you.
Thank you.